All right, what time is it? Still not 7:15. Let's try to stick to a schedule. That's going to be my plan for 2026. Can we stick to the schedule? There's other weird stuff, of course, in Josephina's skull. I suggest there is larval damage that resembles the damage on the back of Sebastian's head plant. Oh, here we go. Let's start bringing them in. Oh, boy. Jesus Fat is here, looking as lost as me. That's good. Not the
Oh, I'm hitting the like button. Hey, what's up, everybody? Hey, hey,
Hey, yo. What do you got to say before I bring in Tyrone? Speak your speak.
Well, I've been doing a lot of research, and we've been looking at pottery that is connected to the Tridactyls. And we've noticed that people have been connecting these potteries long ago. Let's say, for instance, before these bodies were found, these beings or these mummies, as we have been classifying them in Peru, the bad news is that these huaqueros have been separating all the artifacts from them, and that is an absolute atrocity. And as we were in the green room the other day, we were graced by
Oh yeah, see, I forgot that. See, that's why you're here.
amazing reporter and confidant of
Yeah,
other.
Jaime Maussan's at one point his right hand man. I don't know if they had a.
I don't know if they're
falling
still
out?
connected. Yeah, but he was very well knowledged. He still is connected to the institutes and the universities in Peru, and they just lately they won a battle. Jamie Maussan has just won a battle over there in Peru, as we
but
heard.
that might be a gambling piece to keep him out of trouble at this point. By
Yeah.
the way, real quick,
Oh, yeah.
talk about pareidolia. So, I mean, while this would be where I would look for a larva, it's almost too good. It looks like the Shroud of Turin.
Yeah, were you? What is
Look
that?
at
A
this.
terrain map? I'm
Look at
ex-military
this.
here.
It looks
so-
like there's a huge face there, but I'm going to chalk that up to pareidolia since I'm not sure. When I'm not sure, yeah, I'll say pareidolia.
No, I could see the eyes. I could see the eyes there.
So, but I don't know if that is or not. It might just be,
No, I
a
mean,
quicking. It could be
no,
a
I
quickening.
mean,
It's
yeah, I
awfully,
mean,
it's awfully,
depends
it's awfully
what you're
good
looking for.
actually looking.
No,
so.
you're if it's
This might
inside
be more something over
the
here.
bodies, yeah.
And
If
this
you're
is
looking at the
obvious
bodies,
setting. So yeah, this is the body. This is the brain. I do believe they are in the brain. They are eating the brain, which is
Professor
something out of a movie.
has been looking throughout the whole scans, and
Every
he's
day.
been going through every body, and they seem to have like 30, 40, more than that actually, like over 100 of these larvas inside of them.
And again,
insane amount.
They're in
of
the
these larvas.
archaeological record. I just,
Yeah.
I posted one of my
And
articles today.
nobody's listening to him right now because they really are not focusing on these larvas, but he's the first ones to bring it up, and
Yes.
eventually they're gonna be seeing these larvas inside
I'm also
these
the
bodies.
first one to have the amphibian assertion, at least publicly, with these bodies. I'm sure, like in the record, I'm sure there's probably people who have already suggested.
I guess you're going all the way with these larvas, man, or you're gonna go bust. Wherever you gonna do.
Because it's like the one I was going to show everybody. It's just too hyper realistic for me to like. I'm not going to back down from something that's like. And again, when I see it through specimens in different parts of the body, and they're predicted in the archaeological record, man. You know what I mean? It's like they're there. I mean, hell,
Yeah.
I even like, of course, I always like to show the Hongsheng pig dragons. Which, weird
and
stuff.
that is the
These
other.
were found with bodies that were buried
There's the
with
proof
pigs.
right there. Yeah.
And if you
I mean,
follow, I think, is it McCaffrey is the name? The gentleman who believes that humans are a hybrid of chimpanzees and pigs. There's that theory, and there's the aquatic ape theory that predates all of this. And I have to say, it's starting to feel a little bit closer. We're going to give you one more minute, Mr. Jesus, before we bring on Tyrone.
Well, yeah, I was looking at the pottery earlier. We were talking about it, even last week, and it's coming down to if we see the museum pieces, the ones that have been being sold around the world, and thank God, they have not been destroyed by the vaqueros because they go in there with crowbars and they're looking around in the ground, and these are not professionals that use little by little, going through it meticulously,
Layer
uh,
by layer.
layer by
And you're supposed
layer,
even
inch by
like in
inch.
sites,
They
even
just they're
even
just
sites where there's surface
they're ripping
finds.
around in that ground horrifyingly. And
Yeah,
if
if
you
there's surface finds, you need to document them. So you're right, man.
I'm so
it's not.
angry at these guys
I mean,
because
but
they
Terry
destroy
does that too.
everything.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, God, I hate when I say that. That is such a corny saying.
Further ado.
Here's Tyrone.
What's up? What's up? What's up?
What's up, Tyrone?
How
You're
y'all
here
doing? How
again.
y'all
What's
doing?
wrong with you? Slumming it, huh?
How y'all doing today?
What do you got
Like
to
on
say
the
for
lower
yourself?
half of that camera there, bud. You're just hanging out at the bottom.
I got more lights.
He does. It looks like yeah, you got a discotheque going on over there.
You're dark. You're in the shadows, bro.
Yeah, I'm about to invest in a new camera, bro, because I want a better one. It's something with these cameras, man. I bought this one like 3-4 years ago. Definitely gonna get a new one. But I've been looking up some. Do you know what ectrodactyly is?
Ectrodactyly? No, what is that? Sounds like extra digits? No.
What
The expert tell us.
I was looking up this yesterday, or a couple of days ago. According to Cleveland, the Cleveland Clinic, and I hope I'm saying it right. It's ECTRODACTYLY.
Sounds right.
And it's basically humans with 3 fingers.
Oh, okay.
Or maybe
now you got to
2,
change your
depending on
whole name again, there, bud.
I
You got to get a whole new website. God.
Yeah, I'm gonna send you the link real quick so you can look it up, because I wanted to see if there's a genetic deformation that they know of about that. So I'm gonna put it in the private chat.
But
so
of
you
course,
can look
what
at
I'm
it.
going to say is, well, why do you think we have that genetic deformation?
Yeah, they say. I mean, they definitely say that. We because I heard you mentioning about chimpanzee and pig DNA and all this other stuff. I mean, we actually have DNA from everything on this planet, basically, even bananas. You know what I mean? So
they use mice to test everything and anything right now, and it is the closest thing to being human. So mice are the go-to testing.
But that's what they say about pigs. Pigs have a very similar
I don't know, man. I love
internal structure.
I love pigs, though. Man, they make great companions.
Well, that's why they call humans. That's why the cannibals call humans long pig.
I mean, mice are cute too, but these little piggies, man, they're kind of cute. You see them on Facebook. I went, here, little piggy.
I know. I try not to eat pork myself, but
Oh no, I don't eat pork at all, man. I let that
You
go
used
for
to,
a
though.
while. Yeah,
Yeah.
I used to when growing up because I'm in a Hispanic family. We eat pork. I mean, I'm a Caribbean, actually not Hispanic family, Caribbean family. So,
yeah, you're Latino. There's a difference, right?
Yeah,
Latino
yeah.
versus
But
Hispanic.
mostly coastal families, because pigs. If you travel, you land on an island, you're gonna find pigs on islands, mostly, or hogs or something like that. And I don't know. It's a thing about with my family, and
Well,
you
why
know.
would they bury a pig with somebody in the Hongshang artifacts? That's really weird.
I don't know. Why is it? What's your theory on that?
That it's part of the genetic splicing.
Why
of
don't we
humanity.
see pig heads more often in depictions, like Egyptian, or I mean, we see lion heads, we see ram heads, right? We
Yeah.
see we see cats.
Actually,
right?
there are some boars in Çatalhöyük. There's some Turkish.
But no, I meant like majority. Do we see pigs depicted mostly like a god or something? Pigs don't really are.
They're out there.
They're out there.
What is
Really?
it? Varna? Is it Varna? Maybe there's an Indian god with I think
they don't receive their due diligence out there, do they?
It's
Maybe
interesting y'all say that though, because Set is has a connection with pigs, and there's depictions of him connected with pigs, and the head also.
I know there's the hippopotamus. I saw that in one of those TV shows, the superhero TV shows.
Oh yeah, Moon Knight had the hit. That was wild graphics, wasn't it?
I loved it. You know, it gave you a little historical references, which was awesome.
Yeah.
That's what I liked about that TV show. It was teaching you about the different Egyptian gods that, you know, along the way they were showing you something. It was enjoyable. But I mean, it's just me because I like anthropology and archaeology. Maybe not too many people are not into the whole educational thing when it comes to TV.
No, you know what's good about fiction is, like you said, then fiction spawns people to research the real thing. So nothing wrong with fiction. Fiction is
but it's not the real thing. It's mythology.
Oh, don't get us started on that. One man's myth is another man's religion, isn't it?
I don't want to take that away from you. Hey, but we were researching that pottery. Did you like what I turned that pottery around? It looks like they put that pottery upside down and put it on a plate. I thought the plate was part of it, and then
I didn't. When you kept saying the plate, I thought you were saying that it was like two different pieces of clay.
It was two different. I thought it was fused together, but it wasn't.
Right.
It was actually. So if you flip it over, it looks like a rocket engine. Like it looks like SpaceX's rocket engine. You know, because the funnel comes down. You know, and people don't really have pottery with a funnel. It doesn't really, and usually when you make anything, you know, villages, when they make something to hold something, they usually use it to carry water because they have to carry water for
There's
miles.
all sorts of things that could be used for.
Well, water is mainly the one thing. Water is number one.
I mean, I don't know. You're going to store grains in pots, and of course, if you're following my theory, you know what I think. You know what I think was in there. Not just water, but possibly breeding pots.
Yeah, but grain is usually carried like clothing or in bags and things like that. But pots, you can't carry water. You can't carry water in
clothing. You're not going to store grains in cloth. You're going to store grains in a pot.
Well, yeah. I mean, yeah. If you're going to store it.
Really, what you have to do is you have what anthropologists do, archaeologists do. They're going to scrape the interior, and they're going to They're going to scrape the interior. They're going to see what's actually that pot contained.
I'm going to give up
we know
a
it
little
can
bit
contain
about
chicha.
Yeah, I'm going to give up a little bit of myself. When I was younger, we come from humble beginnings. When I was younger, we did not have the life of luxury. We didn't have running water. I had to go fetch the water in buckets. So that's why whenever I see a pottery, the first thing I think about, is it possible? Is that thing? Can I carry water in that? That's the first thing that comes into my mind. Is because that's all I did when I was little, was carry water from there to the 6th floor.
So here's the pot he's talking about. And you can see the tridactyl being there. Pretty cool. Can you just see it okay? It's a little cut off.
Yeah, I'm looking right now. Museo Antonini Pieza Priyanka Alada in Kawachi.
I'll tell you what, you did a pretty good job of translating Alberto when he was here.
Yeah.
By the way, Tyrone,
so this is the one.
Gotta listen to yourself, Tyrone. They, when they translate, when the AI translates the English, it translates it to English. And for some reason, for some of your conversation, it made you Australian.
Oh, that's not a plate. That's a shadow. That's the shadow of the top. There's light coming down. That's not a plate underneath it.
and then the picture was just inverted, huh?
Yeah.
No, I
So
don't
if you
know.
flip,
Is it?
okay. So at the museum, they actually display this right
Upside
side
down?
up.
Okay, let's see
Yeah.
if we can find that better image then. How about
Yeah, they
that?
don't display it like this. They were, I mean, you found this picture like this, but if you display the actual picture in the museum, they actually display it the other way. And what is going on, that tridactyl, and believe it or not, that one has hair. That tridactyl has hair. It's a long hair tridactyl. And I think it's a hybrid human. So
Hold
everybody's
on.
like seeing all our personal stuff, huh?
Oh, I know. They're gonna like see my political posts.
There it is. You just passed it.
Yeah, but there was a better one, I thought.
Oh, the museum piece.
This one.
Yeah, it was not too far. There it is. So that's the one displayed at the museum, and you could see her hair is very long.
Well, that's probably not hair, my man.
That's black hair.
That's serpentine shapes coming out of the skull.
But there's hair around her head on the sides. And extends upwards. Those are braids.
I don't think so.
I think it is hair. I think this is a hybrid human tridactyl.
Or it could represent water too, because I know with Inky, he has
the water streaming off of him.
Yeah, coming out of his shoulders. Yep.
Oh, she could be in the water.
Yep. If you look at Inky, his representation of water comes from his shoulders, and he looks like little streams coming out his shoulders.
Yeah.
So
I will say this: they do like to make him look very benign looking. You know.
Oh, is that a baby tridactyl coming out of her? Is that or giving water birth?
I don't know. You're starting to sound like Praveen Mohan.
See, and that's, I'm glad you said that, Fat Jesus, because pictures are worth 1,000 words. When you look at symbolism, it can mean so many different things. It can tell you a story without you even having to use words. And that's actually how humans started off when we started speaking to each other, communicating with each other. We depicted or showed individuals what we seen by depicting something, and we explained that depiction was explained through the art, not through the words. So
this is your expertise in this area. That's why we have you here. You understand this type of imagery, and when you were on the show, you actually explained how imagery turns into like music, or music turns into words, and everything that is explained, like the stars are as a story, and everything was translated down into history so that we can have some semblance of what our life and what historical archive of life that humanity used to have. And it's not because, I mean, today we archive everything in books or in microchip film. We used to do that, by the way. If anybody, and I'm an older guy, we used to use microchip film. I used to go through tons of that through lights. And if you kids don't know what a microchip film is,
I think I watched the John B. Calhoun experiment on a microfish, if I'm not mistaken.
Microfish, yeah, microfish, not microchip. Microfish. There's my Spanish coming out. Microfish. And
are you guys familiar with that study? That's where they do the overpopulation of rats.
It's pretty amazing how that technology is, because it's like in a microscope into a what do you call, you're like looking into a film that is really tiny, you can't see with the naked eye, but you're looking through like a microscope, that so you could see all this information. It's so tiny, and it has everything in it, and it was, that's the way we held so much information on such a tiny little spot. And you had to search like rows and rows and rows and rows. It took forever. Now you have the internet. You just hit the search query and it does it for you. I'm telling you, everything is lazy these days. Back then you had to really research, you know?
Yeah, I think, you know, it's funny you say that too, because traditional oral stories in the day were passed mouth to ear. And it's almost like remembering your phone number. Back in the day, we didn't have a cell phone where we can just open it up, look at our contacts, and dial some. We had to remember everybody's number, or at least have written it down somewhere. But most people memorize their most favorite phone numbers, right? And now we got to the point where we're so lazy to the point that all we have to do is open up a phone, click, not even hit contacts, and just sometimes you could just say the name and it'll dial it for you. We've gotten so lazy with our
You would have to come over to my
abilities.
house. I don't have a good memory anymore.
Man.
I'm so old, and I come from such a small town that all we had to remember were the last 5 digits. So, like, my phone number was 80292. That's all you had to dial, 80292. And like you said, I remember my friend's number.
What are you, a vampire?
82942.
What the?
88966. 241, 361 or something. I still remember my friends' phone numbers. That's crazy, right?
People would actually buy phone numbers too, so it could be easier to dial. Go ahead, Rebirth.
Sometimes it sounds like
I was just saying that. Yeah, I was just saying that. It just we've gotten so lazy to the point that we write everything down, and then it gets to the point where we think what's written down is the facts, and it really isn't. I'm a big fan on reading books, but I don't think that books hold the information. I just like them because people like to say, where did you get your information from? Where did you learn that from? So it's easy just for me to say, well, I read it from this book. Now, if you ask me my personal opinion and my theory, I'm taking everything that I've read throughout my whole entire research and combining and saying, hey, this is what it is. And that's why a lot of times I can't explain in 5 minutes what I believe in something, because there's no way. I have to run through my course of this is why I believed in it. And anybody that creates, and even today, we're even getting lazier today with our videos. A lot of people go to shorts and be like, see, this is the facts, because somebody did a 1 minute short on YouTube on it, and everybody's like, see, that's the facts. But you're taking away the
true. I mean,
so you guys are you guys for having, like, you remember Johnny Mnemonic? Remember the movie?
I'm familiar with it, but
Johnny Mnemonic, was Keanu Reeves.
Yeah, okay.
A memory carrier. Like, he would carry tons of storage. He was he would carry storage. Like, you know how a carrier carries like envelopes going from one place to the other. He would carry information. So he would carry it in his head, and they filled his head up way too much. So he couldn't lose that information. It was so important because he wouldn't get paid, But it was it made you think about what the future would be. Nobody thought about the future. But now today we have companies that Elon Musk made, and the technology he has isn't new. It comes from DARPA, actually. So Elon Musk, DARPA, DARPA, is from the government. And basically DARPA hands out contracts to corporations that have the ability to take their technology and to go further. So they basically gave him the brain chip. Basically it's called a brain chip, and I did a paper in school for it. And basically they did a experiment on trying to bring it back all the way back in the past. They did it in the University of Chicago and the University of Berkeley, where they had a chimpanzee and they had a chip inside, and the chimpanzee wirelessly took a robotic arm, and the robotic arm moved, grabbed the banana, and it moved like that. It was so basic, but it was technology. Basically, the brain chip was controlling a robotic arm. And then the idea is to make the brain chip so small that you don't need wires coming out of the brain and the head, and it just uses the energy that's inside your head.
So will that be the advancement of the human race, the transhumans, not transvestites, or will that be the downfall of the human race?
Well, would you guys be opposed to having extra memory?
I wouldn't.
Would you want to be able to? I mean, it's not going to control you. It's basically going to enhance you.
But that's the thing.
To have more memory.
The idea is that back door. I don't want to get.
What about you, Rebirth?
No, I like being who I am. I don't want nothing extra, and I don't want nothing taken away.
I want it. I want that. I want the extra memory. I want to be able to.
Yeah, but then they're going to program a backdoor, and you're not going to be.
I don't think anybody can program a back. Not at this early of a stage.
You might want to check with a certain country in the Middle East, who I won't name.
You guys are conspiracy theorists now.
No, I like the idea of extra memory, but
those beepers explode.
I like the idea of extra memory. It's just, and you know, it's funny you say that because of the simple fact that I know where Elon Musk is trying to go with this Neuralink and stuff like that.
Right.
You know, I think that could be something that could help us out. Like, you know, and I'll be honest, like if I can sit here and be like, give me, if instead of typing on the computer or asking ChatGPT or Grok or any of this AI about some information or asking Google, I can just be like in the middle of my head, it'll give me information on tridactyls, and it gives me a whole bunch of stuff on tridactyls. And instead of having to remember it, I just can go find the source within, you know, that Neuralink. Because let's be honest. Is there anything really different with our brain and using the internet? Because not everybody knows the same stuff, and a lot of people know a lot of misinformation. It's just like any AI or Google. You know, you got to cipher through this stuff.
I think the problem here is the amount of information that data centers produces. I gave a link to Professor Ed Casas here. An AI, and he would communicate with this AI, and this AI was like really intelligent and uses the Google data centers around the world. Now Google uses multiple data centers around the world to fuel up its AI, and that's why it's so smart. It's not just one data center.
Let's check out some pictures here real quick. I want to see if you guys can. So my theory.
I know that I'm off a little bit here, but that's what I'm thinking about.
I don't mean to interrupt you, but I have some cool stuff I wanted you guys to look at.
On the head, but I'm for it. You guys are against it, so.
I didn't say I'm against it. I'm just warning you that all of these things come with backdoors. So who's to say that you don't have a backdoor?
That brings it up. For tridactyls, are they silicone beings? Are they fully biological beings, or
they look pretty biological? Check out this weird painting. This is one of those things where I might only be seeing, but this is one of those pictures where I ask people to squint and look at the center picture here.
That's what I was trying to get at, is come back around to tridactyls. Were they created by somebody?
So to me, when I squint and look at this, it appears as though the two heads kind of form together. And this is just one of those weird things that I see.
Pareidolia.
There's a name for that. I can't remember. There's a name or a title for that when you look at something a certain way and you can see a different color or see a different
perspective anamorphosis and steganography if they're intentionally hiding something. See, I just want to go over some things.
Or the painter's hiding something, or maybe there's a picture underneath the picture as well.
So this is Easter Island, but the other name they give it is the God with the eyes looking up.
Yeah, so I see that with the volcanoes.
Is this a pareidolia of an intentional, not intentional, but pareidolia is not necessarily a bad thing. It could be just what the people thought. So is that too a tridactyl head, the God with the eyes?
Well, I mean, a UFO can go down there and just create some volcanoes and just
maybe
push it out.
Exactly. So maybe they were
and then they're trying to make a face out of the continent.
And then here's Capricorn, which is the tail of the satyr pan jumping into the water and becoming an aquatic goat.
That looks just like Easter Island, doesn't it?
Yeah. So I thought I'd share that.
Yeah, that is really cool. That's a cool find.
Here's some artistic
yeah, I was looking at that picture that you had there. That's
some alternative positions of how the tridactyls likely walked this way. They may have walked like on their toes, which
or rested. Mhm.
And their hands are permanently in that planar position, by the way.
Interesting.
And then, yeah, and keep in mind too, their forelimbs are longer than their rear limbs.
Why not the other way? Why not the?
How about this tattoo on a Naga tribesman? Yeah, I'm just blasting through some
Why
things.
not the knees go the other way?
Yo, I think that's very possible too with those hinge
Hey, y'all
joints.
remember that movie? It's funny you say that Charlie Sheen movie, The Arrival, I think it was. It called. I can't remember.
We were
I gotta
talking
look.
about that last week.
Yeah, when the black kid at the end, when they was looking at him, he bent his legs backward.
And he started running. They're like little springs. They're like, clink, clink, clink.
So this is something I
He
specifically
booked it. I'm like, damn.
I wanted to show Tyrone. This is said to be an aniconic position of Anne. Aniconic.
Why did they
Anne.
use a black kid out of everybody else?
How about
Man.
this for an alternative?
Usain Bolt out of there too.
How about this for an alternative Anunnaki?
Were they trying to say something?
Or this one? Odd, right? Yeah.
I wanted to be around that round table. I wonder if they were trying to decide which which race of children they wanted to use at that time.
Yo, I'm
of the
gonna watch
movie.
that shit again tonight. Yo, but it's funny you say that because look, man, it's really amazing. Because when I was a little kid, when I first watched that movie, I was like, why did they use a black kid for that? Right? Like, why is it? Why is there a representation of that? And maybe if I go back and watch it now with the information that I have now, maybe I'll be able to pick it up and see why they did that. But if you really look at it, I always say this: melanin is because of the sun. So it couldn't have been a black kid, right?
Yeah.
So anything outside of Earth's atmosphere would have what would be considered white skin, but not white skin as what we understand as Caucasian, but more like paper white. And I actually read that in Dolores' canon book. I've been sending y'all messages back and forth about everything they talked about with the 3 fingers. I've been showing y'all in the messages, everything that they said.
How did that make you feel to see that?
Well, this is why I love sources, because for one, I always say I don't like how people come at you guys saying that you guys don't know what you're talking about, because the only thing we're missing at this point right now is a live specimen. Maybe we will never get that because there's any more of that. But we have skeletons, you have the DNA, you have the 3D scans, and then you have people like Dolores Cannon. For anybody that's out there that's listening, Dolores Cannon was a hypnotist who went around the world, who spoke to individuals about their alien abductions. And each one of those, not every single one of them, but for a lot of them, they described individuals with 3 fingers, sometimes 4, sometimes 6, but most of the time it was 3 fingers. That was the thing that stuck out to me the most. And she said in this book that one of her, I guess you could say patients or somebody, I don't know what the correct term is for it, because I don't think she was a doctor, if I'm not mistaken, but they would say that these individuals had skin, some of them had skin as what we would look at if we're looking at white paper. And that to me, scientifically, I know scientifically the sun is what makes the skin brown, light brown to dark brown. Without the sun is where you get the Caucasian skin here on Earth, but outside of Earth's atmosphere, since they're floating in the sky, they don't have the sun and all that other stuff. Or they do have the sun, but they're in a ship and it's not directly on them. They're not growing in and all this other stuff. It makes me think about when the baby's first born, the skin color of a child when the baby is first born, when they're in the womb of the mother, right? When the baby comes in, they're very light skin. Some people would consider them pale skin, grayish type skin. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that all makes me wonder. And then you also have to think about the sun that doesn't hit if they're in the water. You've seen those deep sea creatures that's inside the ocean that has skin color that's almost grayish or whitish.
Let me talk about that, because someone just recently said, well, why did you depict them green? And I have 2 legitimate reasons for that. One is the evidence of them being amphibian. And 2, the cultural complex of jade and greenstone all around the Pacific Rim, specifically in Maori tiki. So here's the thing. If you have something that is healthy and in the sun and in the water, it's probably going to be green. But if you have something that is living underground and away from the sun, an amphibian or a reptile, what do you think their color of their skin's going to look like? It's going to go from a green to a gray. So some people look at the bodies and say, look, hey, they're gray, just like we suspected. But one of the heads, I just tweaked the tint just a hair, and it popped green. So I think that this gray is really just, it's unhealthy. The gray is just an unhealthy version of the green.
Yeah, but
the
also
green leaves on the tree. Maybe they respect photosynthesis.
Well, you're close. Let's think about it. Why would it be green? Let's look at it as a fisherman's perspective when you're going to go fishing, right? They might not be too deep in the water, but it could be also camouflage because we got to think about algae, right? They could have been around that, or that could have been their type of food source. And, since they, fish don't usually go from one side to the pond to the other unless they're migrating for a certain reason, right? Tides, mating, whatever the case. Usually they're set in the safe.
Find out why amphibians.
I guarantee you it'll say algae. I guarantee you most amphibians are green because of the fact of algae and them also coming on land in grass.
Broccoli.
You got to remember.
Yeah, it's probably, on land too, they're going to want to camouflage with plants,
with the green and exactly.
Asparagus. If you eat a lot of asparagus,
we have.
What's to say that they're not? What's to say that they're not like chameleonaires when they can sit chameleons when they can? I say chameleonaire. Chameleons
produce and control green light for survival.
Yeah,
pigment and light reflecting cells called chromatophores.
Vegetation, man.
For camouflage, signaling. So yeah, I think if you take these green creatures and you take them out of that habitat, they're going to reduce to a gray skin color. So for all those people who are saying they're gray, not green, yeah, why not both?
Well, in the book, also in the Alien Abductions book, she talks about that. They talk a little about the grays, I guess you can say, and they had 3 fingers. So it could just be a plethora of type of reasons why they have that color skin. And I can tell you the one thing that sticks out to me, no matter what their skin color is, what they looked like, 9 times out of 10, if they had 3 fingers, they also were individuals who were very intelligent, and sometimes to the point where it was so funny they described it long and bony, and that's what you can see in some of those on that tridactyls.org website when I was going through with it with David Stig yesterday, because he's very interested in now, because he said he met you guys out there, I guess at Arizona, I think it was.
Quest for Ancient Civilizations.
Well, I wanted you guys to experiment real quick with your own fingers, and I want you to pull out your 3 fingers and go like this, and then I want you to see how can you grab things with these 3 fingers. Can you grab a fork with it? Can you grab a hammer and hammer with this?
I got a jorrito.
Yeah, I mean, can you really function with these 3 fingers? Unless you could bend these fingers inward.
I did a commercial, I think, for
if you could bend these fingers inward like this, then and have really good strength to grab onto things, then that's something different. But now let's take 3 of the fingers, grab these 3 fingers right here. Now, how much strength do you have now? You got a lot of strength, right? You could grab things. You can do a lot of things with this. You could actually crawl on your hands with these.
Well, some of the tridactyls have 1 or 2 extra phalanges, so that is going to be able to allow them to manipulate space much better.
So for us, if we were hybrids, this would be the 3 fingers. This would be perfect. Having a thumb would be the best.
Would they call it the opposable thumb?
Yeah, you must have like a something to like a fulcrum. You have to have something to push against, and then the other 2 is to be used to help the helpers.
And if you think of the concept of 2 fingers, a lot of things can be done with 2 fingers. Detailed manual dexterity can be done with just 2 fingers.
Yeah, but I think because their fingers were so long, I think they could twist their fingers inward to wrap around things. And
you have to consider they may have hydrostatic mechanics that may allow them to extend their neck to allow their heart to continuously flow and not pump. So these hydrostatics may progress to their fingers. And if you think of some of the mythological representations of strange beings like giants, actual giants, they have serpentine legs.
Mm-hmm.
So again, that could be alluding to hydrostatic mechanics, and they may these beings may transgress typical clades, and I'm seeing a lot of what could be construed as cephalopod or what's another term that's better than cephalopod? Arthropod.
Here's the other thing: they may not even walk on their back heels; they may just walk on their toes only.
No, they probably that was that image I was showing you. That's
so. If you look for footprints, you're looking for twigs,
or at least three fingers or claws into the.
So if you're looking for, like, it'll be like bird, like little bird freaking prints. That's the thing. I would go out hunting with a group of indigenous people out in the Amazon. We would look for prints on the ground, and we would look for the leaves broken, stuff like that, and they would know what they were looking for. And I would imagine what the tridactyls would leave behind by looking at their feet, just their, I don't know how we would just say their feet. I would just say feet for us. Feet is what humans have. I don't know what we would say what tridactyls have, but let's just say feet. And I'm trying to think, do they use their back heels like we do, or do they just use their toes, their three toes all the time? Do they use that as walking? And that's how they walk. They don't use the back heel. The back heel is just leverage for something else, maybe for turning and pivoting. So, here's a picture of it. Maybe they don't come down on their back heels. Maybe they're always on their toes. I mean, it's shown right there that it's bent because they have passed away. But when they're alive, maybe those toes are straight down, and they're always, it's in a spring-like action.
See, this is what I don't understand. People go to the hospital to get an x-ray to check to see if their bone is broken, right? And the doctor, 9 times out of 10, if he's intelligent enough, and he should be intelligent enough because he's a doctor, would say, hey, this bone is broken. So what is the difference between these type of scans and the scans that they do through humans to verify if it's a human? If I was to take an x-ray scan of somebody in 100 years from now, of course, that person's gone or possibly gone. Somebody can say that was a human, right? Or a type of human. Why is these scans so hard to believe? Like, what is it? I don't understand. What people don't get is that we won't have a live specimen of this. They're probably extinct. They're probably gone, right?
Yeah.
Or
well,
maybe they got to the point.
According to abduction accounts and according to indigenous tales, they're very much still alive.
Yeah, and that's what I was going to say.
Even in Terry's book, Finding Lost Patiti, the grave robbers claim to have gotten into firefights with them.
And this is the thing that I don't understand. They say that these come from human bones. That's their argument. They're saying that people took these human bones and they put them together and they got this. You're not going to find a left bone from somebody and a right bone from somebody else, and they're going to match almost identical. It doesn't make sense to me, bro. Like, I just don't understand.
Alike are not really paying attention to the little ones. I've made the little ones my focus. And keep in mind, for these things to be human, then we have to explain things like these stomach ribs, this furcula bone here, which is found in birds, and theropods, which is this bone right here. Like, you can see it from the side. So that's decidedly not human,
bro.
So,
and
we can look at this. We're looking at the X-rays right now. So, I mean, even just being an amateur, you can see that it appears to be whole and, seamless.
Yeah, but that's my point, is that if we can't get a live specimen, we don't have a fucking live specimen as a saber-toothed tiger, but we know that they're real, right?
Yeah,
We
I
have
think
skeletons,
it's that.
we have all this
What do you
other stuff.
call that? It's cognitive dissonance, man.
It's so
And here's the other.
I love
here's
it.
the other thing, but so I see these skeptics out there, and again, even some of the people that are involved in this, and I bring up things like, I believe I found the parietal pineal gland, that third eye, and I'll say to the skeptics, what about the furcula? What about the gastralia stomach ribs? And what's funny is they don't respond most of the time. So the researchers won't respond to my parietal pineal gland, and then the skeptics won't reply to like the furcula and the gastralia. Look, their focus has been Maria because they thought that was an easy go. But meanwhile, even the key researchers are missing really cool morphology like these ear bones. You see how? Oh, I don't have the picture up.
So Google AI says that these tridactyls do display a backward knee look, like a bird with a backward facing knee. After AI has looked at all the scans.
Yeah, they're a type of hinge joint.
Yeah, they do hinge backwards. That's wild that movie has seen tridactyls, or whoever wrote the movie has probably seen these way beforehand.
So this is just another part of the morphology they're not talking about. These robust ear bones are something like you would see in either an amphibian or something between an amphibian and a mammal, like a seal or a whale. So just things like that. It's like when people say humans, like humans don't have these robust ear bones. You can see how robust they are because I've reduced the density on the skull and you still see the ear bones, right?
Yeah, and that's what I don't get is that there's literally websites and the idea of you see it for yourself. Like what I just don't understand what more people want.
And not only that, but they collaborate, they match up with the archaeological record found globally, whether it's the Amur River in Russia, the Dogu of Japan, the Permian bronze animal style of Europe. I think we've looked at those before. We'll have to pull those up again. The fertility idols of Syria. So it's a cultural complex that's global. The tridactyls ended up being, at least for me, they were like, they were the missing link. I don't know if they're the missing link to humans, but they were definitely the missing link to all of these cultural complexes. And I think the problem was, one archaeologist looks at it in Europe and calls them, I don't know, fertility beings. Someone else calls them a mother goddess. Someone else calls them ritual masks. And so there's no cohesion. So everyone's talking about a different thing. And the tridactyls were just simply, I think, that key to the puzzle. I'm going to see if I can pull up some of those artifacts.
I wanted to bring up some things about that movie, The Arrival. I know this is not about the movie, but David
Boy, you
Towie
love that
was the
damn
one
movie.
who wrote it. So just wanted to bring that up. Digital effects was from Pacific Data Images, and makeup effects and all this Todd Masters, and additional design was by Sandy Colora. I don't know if you guys heard those names before, but I was trying to figure out who has seen tridactyls before, because we're looking at them, but has other people have seen these beings before and have put them in movies and TV shows?
So here's the Syrian eye idols of Tel Brak, or the Syrian eye goddess. These are called fertility gods, or fertility idols. They're from like 3800 BC, so they could collaborate with the dating of the large hands. The other thing about them that's interesting is that they found lots of these at a site. So it appears as though lots of these of different styles.
This is an amazing find.
Pilgrims were going to this site and bringing them. Now look at this one here. This one seems to depict a mother and a child. This one appears to show two together in a sort of a pair bond. And then the next slide is those Permian bronze animal style. You notice that they are tridactyl. They do have cordiform heads. And again, they almost feel as though they were caught in some intimate moments of family. So just two examples of two cultural traits that a lot of complexes that people don't typically discuss, because I knew everyone was going to be focused on the Peruvian stuff, right? But
they're all over the world.
They're all over the world, exactly. I don't know where my.
So can we just and that
can't find you guys. I can't find my restream.
Did Stig, was he the one
here it is.
who brought this up? I mean, could we just say that they're Atlanteans?
Well, wouldn't that make sense? Because what do they say emerged from the water were tutory beings that brought civilization to man. And when they say fish head beings, sure, we could think of Maria with her elongated head upwards. But if you notice, this head actually looks like a fish's body that could swim, which is why I want to bring up the island of Capri. And what I love about the island of Capri, it's one of those things where people really aren't sure of the origin of the name. But let me show you something here.
I was researching off the coast of California, looking for the underwater base near the island where the military is keeping people away from it, assuming that they know that they exist.
So here's the island of Capri, and then here's a head of a tridactyl. And you can see the island of Capri. We can argue that it doesn't necessarily look like the head of a tridactyl, but it certainly looks like a fish. And again, you don't see a fish?
Well, no, you have it in a little, yeah.
Oh.
You have to expand your screen.
There you go. Fish and a tridactyl head.
Oh, I see. Yeah. Oh, okay. I see the difference there. Yeah. Wow. Look at that.
So, again, we could say it's just pareidolia, but perhaps more importantly, maybe it was pareidolia to the ancients.
You know what? I mean, if you were a great god that has the ability to transform stone or manufacture a whole island.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wouldn't put it past. I wouldn't put it past
discounting that either, man.
Yeah. If you could transform a whole island and make it into yourself, that's pretty.
And that's why I do look for pareidolia still in land
masses. Might as well call the island narcissist,
Yeah,
narcissist.
Even like when I look at like Australia upside down, I'm like, is that just supposed to be a tridactyl head? Yeah. Did they do that for a reason? Think of all the glacial erratics all around the world that clearly look like a tridactyl head perched on the top of a stone.
But let's get down to brass taxes here. I don't think tridactyls are narcissists, honestly. I mean, or beings that are millions of years old, or have evolved. They have already surpassed the narcissist.
Well, then maybe
they don't really think of themselves so much. What do you think?
Well, then there would be their descendants who wanted us to remember them. And I think that is the ultimate meaning of all.
We are the ones who are making all these effigies and making them into gods. And
well, what's the difference between us and them? And there maybe not.
I don't think they ever wanted to be gods. I think that we are the ones who create them into gods, and we're the ones who created all the slaves.
But I don't see. That's just it. I don't think it's about gods anyway. I think it's just about remembrance of the ancestors. I don't think we were ever supposed to worship anything. We were just supposed to remember. And isn't that what religion means etymologically anyway? It's the rebinding, it's the re-remembering, it's the rereading, it's re-ledgering.
So call me sentiment. I'm more of a Star Trekkie. I'm a trekker.
Me too.
I think about the prime directive. Don't mess with another civilization. So let's just say if tridactyls did come from another planet, I mean, why mess with humanity? Why do if I were to come to planet Earth and I'm using reasoning, like I'm thinking I'm an exterior force coming to planet Earth, and humans have to evolve. They have to evolve on their own and everything like that. I'm thinking, that's how I'm thinking. If I keep on putting all my technology and my education on humans, they're no longer going to be humans anymore. They're just going to be, you know, they're going to be us. So instead, we're going to let humans do their thing. So if they're going to be worshiping us, they're going to be doing this and that, creating their language, and, you know, we'll give them a little bit of this.
Based on just the skulls in the island of Capri we were just looking at.
That looks like a copperhead snake. And that, in that angle, it looks like a copperhead snake.
You know, I want to say to what you were saying, Fat Jesus, why would they why would they mess with humans? Well, let's think about it for a second, bro. If they came outside of Earth's atmosphere, obviously they would have to adapt to our atmosphere, right? Or our land and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
But maybe they were having trouble with that, and they were dying off fast, or the diseases was, you know, affected them much worse. So
humans didn't even exist in the first place. Only the chimpanzees and the apes.
Well, that's where the idea of using those species to, you know, mess with the DNA, to use their abilities to adapt on this planet, but have their abilities as far as knowledge or memory or brain capacity, basically, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That intelligence. I know a lot of people say, you know, depending on the brain size, you know, whether you can be much smarter or more intelligent and stuff like that, but that's not even actually a proven fact, because even when I was growing up, they said that we only use 10% of our brain. If we cut 10% of our brain, if we only have 10% of our brain inside our skull and take out the rest of the 90%, how big would that brain be? You know, and you know, it could be just that they needed to adapt to our land somehow, or atmosphere, if we're going to go with the idea of them being extraterrestrial. Just like any of the alien extraterrestrials that come outside of our Earth's atmosphere that, you know, messed with our DNA in a sense.
I don't think there's an us and them. I think it's just us, and they're just the ancestors. And this might be a natural process of a planet to go through this.
I think it's easier said than done. I think they created us, and we didn't come out to being like, we didn't take their intelligence and knowledge and everything that easily. Like, we didn't continue on from where they left off. We had to evolve from this beginning stage and continue to evolve, and to get to their stage, we would have to continue to evolve. And that's what I think what happened. Like the scientific term is easier said than done.
Not continue to evolve, but like the Dogon suggests, is that the mother serpent goddess mates with her descendants. It's back crossing. To get to us, it was constant back crossing. So you would take a chimpanzee and a tridactyl, and you would have a descendant. You would then take that descendant and you would mate it with the tridactyl, and then you would get the next descendant, et cetera, et cetera.
But here's the kicker: we are subject to this prison. Then now, this Earth is it. We can't
prison or paradise.
Well, no, this Earth. This is it. We can't get off this rock. I mean, this is
we already
live and breathe this. We can't leave. We can't leave this rock, because this is what we breathe and we live on. If we go to Mars or anywhere else, we can't survive anywhere outside of Earth. This is what we're made for.
For now, maybe there's another stage of evolution.
We would have to do this.
Maybe our job is to get the tridactyl DNA off of this planet and to get it to somewhere else.
Who knows? So it's just me thinking. You know, I'm always thinking and trying to understand the possibility. If they became extinct, it's because they couldn't breathe our atmosphere or survive on Earth.
Keep in mind, we have the little tridactyls with approximately 5% human DNA, and then we have the larger ones with approximately 33% DNA. I mean, it's evidence to what I'm suggesting. Right now, I'm just going through all the various glacial erratics that people cannot explain why one rock is on top of another unless a glacier pushed it there.
My interest is Wyoming. Is the one that looks like a tree trunk.
And what's great, you can zoom in on some of these, and we might see some vitrification, meaning were these stones extremely heated to help create some of this coloring.
But it takes time, yeah.
I love that we can zoom in on things, you know?
So they found this rock just like this? That's incredible. Like
yeah, I mean, this one looks like it's definitely intentionally built. That doesn't look natural.
That looks like Stonehenge out in the middle of nowhere.
So yeah, how many of these are natural, and then how many were encouraged? Look at that.
That looks like a sphinx.
Yeah, which I suggest looks like a tridactyl. That one I can't even see what I captured there.
Yeah, so Rebirth and I, we were talking about doing a trip out here and having you join us going up the East Coast.
Yeah, I want to go to Mount Mitchell. I would like that to be a destination just because it's the highest point.
Are we going to be traveling by car from Florida all the way up, or are you going to meet us on a plane, or what? How are we going to do all this?
I was probably planning on driving and bringing the dog.
Okay.
We also have to consider
we're going to be doing some hiking, right?
Got to consider our Peruvian trip too. Because after talking to J. Alberto, it sounds like we should make it a point. Look at this one. This one's neat. Some aerial views, seeing what's going on there. Is there cross-hatching involved? Look at this one. This one's cool.
So
this
Carl
one
says
the owl.
Now Carl said some things on YouTube. He probably missed it.
Yeah, I haven't seen anybody on there in a while.
If you can export your thoughts into machine movement, you can implant thoughts into bodily movement. Not for me. That's he does.
He's going back to that.
Yeah, not evil, just survival. Evil concept came with religion.
Yeah.
So he believes that, religion also plays an important part in our human evolution.
So check this out. I mean, again, is there something going on here? Is this all just coincidental? Or is there more to be seen within if we pay attention?
I see the Monopoly man in that one.
Yeah, I just thought it'd be cool to go through some of these. We were talking about pareidolia and
that's wild. That one right there. And most of the indigenous population, they also saw shapes and forms too, and they would make the shapes out of those rocks as well.
Or they would deem them like the ancestors, or the seven grandfathers of Mount Rushmore before Mount Rushmore was built. If you look at that,
yeah, I don't even know what that was. How was Mount Rushmore the way it was? Was it just a bunch of rock? I think I have pictures of that when Mount Rushmore wasn't, defaced. They just look like a mountain.
Yeah.
Didn't have a face. So.
Yeah, well, it didn't have proper faces, but if they call it the seven grandfathers, then you should probably take another look and see if you can find some pareidolia at the very least.
I don't know why they would want to carve on that mountain. That's another story in all its own. Why would they want to carve on that mountain? If it was a religious place
to make a point, the same reason why they built churches on the top of mounds, right?
All I know is that if anybody tried to build something like that today, it would cost a lot of money. Today, it would cost way more money than it did back then. And plus, we don't have slaves today. That's another thing. It was a horrible, horrible moment in our history, just to make a mountain full of faces.
Well, I don't think they used slaves to make Mount Rushmore. I think they had
just dynamite. Just one person with dynamite.
Well, some of those faces are like plaster, kind of. They're like implants. They're not. They didn't just carve the stone. If I'm not
They
mistaken.
blew them out. They blew them out.
But I think you could actually remove those.
What? The faces on there? No.
I don't think they're all exactly carved properly into stone. They're like additions.
They use dynamite to make the faces.
There's you can see behind them.
Oh.
But look right. I don't know if you guys can see this. So they're calling the 6 grandfathers. But what did they see? Right? What did the Native Americans see to call Mount Rushmore the 6 grandfathers?
That's what it used to look like?
Uh-huh. And I've done some moving around in the Black Hills on Google Earth.
Oh, the one all the way on the right looks like a person. Look at the face. The one on the right there. Yeah, that looks like a person looking to the right.
Well, even this here could look like a tridactyl head.
You see the nose? You see the nose on the right? The mouth, here? The nose on the right. Go move your cursor to the right. Right. It's sideways. The face is sideways. Right there. You see the mouth?
Okay,
nose.
Sure, there you go.
The eyes right next to the nose.
So
the head, it looks sideways.
That's what I'm saying. There could be other things on there to look at.
That's fantastic. They have the picture before they started. That is fantastic. And then they just threw. Whoa, go back to the Mount Rushmore. Is that face still there?
Yes, some of them are still there. Even absolutely, yeah.
Oh yeah. So they didn't destroy the other face, or maybe they did. I don't know. Well, I can't.
So I think the point is, we can't just brush things off as pareidolia when pareidolia may have been important and may have been intentional for all we know. Right?
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I may be suffering from pareidolia. I mean, most of the time I see shapes in the clouds, But I mean, the truth is that tridactyls are mummies, and they've been heavily studied, and they have been tested heavily, and they're real. And
there's still more, and there's more specimens. I mean, I don't even have scans of all the specimens. There's plenty more specimens. They're supposed to be releasing 6 more sets of DNA. That's the other crazy thing you'll hear people talk about, Tyrone. They'll say, there's literally been no science done. What an obnoxious thing for people to say.
People think that it's only just one mummy or 2 mummies, or there's there's hundreds of mummies, but
there might be hundreds or thousands of them to be released.
They're going to be coming out with more soon, and it takes time because to scan them, it's not like they got free money over there.
Right, it costs money. All those things cost money unless someone's donating money or donating.
Yeah, I mean, there's no outside source university like University of California or Berkeley or something like that providing they don't have a wing from the University of California or anything like that in Ica. There's no hub over there or American hub of archaeology down there in Ica. That's another thing they should have. I researched that. The Japan is in charge of mostly all of Nazca. When it comes the university in Japan, they're mostly have the contract for digging up over there, and they're not doing a great job either because the Huaqueros are the ones that are just destroying that whole area. So they're not doing anything to lobby and have the Peruvian government to police the Nazca lands to stop these Huaqueros.
You guys can see those stomach ribs in this shot.
Yeah, that's crazy. I mean, that's a lot of ribs.
Yeah, it's almost like what I see it as. It's almost like a proto turtle between the ribs and these overlapping.
Is it a lot of ribs, or it just seems to be a lot of ribs because of the small body?
They have stomach ribs. They have ribs that go across the front of their body.
Okay. So we have like chest ribs.
Right. They have the side, what they call short ribs, but then they have the gastralia of a crocodilian, which is the stomach ribs, which likely alludes to that. Well, it alludes to obviously some sort of crocodilian sort of, crocodiles are older than dinosaurs. They're part of something called archosaurs.
Are these ribs connected to the backbone?
The short ribs are.
What are the other ribs connected to? Anything?
They call them floating ribs. Someone said that they are connected, but I don't think they are.
Floating ribs?
Mm-hmm.
What? How's that even possible?
I don't know. I guess you have to look up gastralia, look up crocodilians, see what it tells you.
That doesn't make any sense. I've never seen floating ribs before, especially if they're cut off like that, right? They're not connected?
Yeah. Now, again, someone else said they were, so that might require.
So basically what's going to happen is that they're going to have, so they're going to be connected to, what is the white thing that's connected to between our leg, between our joints? Cartilage. So they would have a lot of cartilage then in between the floating ribs, right? What do you think, Rebirth?
It's
not your wheelhouse,
man. Because you're talking about how they look like eggs, or how people talk about how they're eggs, or you're presenting them as eggs, right? I've never actually looked deep into that to have an honest answer for that. But I can say that this is written in a peer-reviewed article. So that's all I need to know, is that they're saying this in a peer-reviewed article, which means that it used a scientific method to back it up. So
to be fair, that the peer review article is still under scrutiny by people because they suggest the journal wasn't reputable. So most of the researchers are still actually waiting for a more definitive peer review. But we were actually talking about the stomach ribs, what's called gastralia, which
floating ribs,
which could be helping to support the cutaneous breathing since they don't have lungs, and could also to allude to their early stages of crawling on their bellies.
Like a worm.
Like a worm, which would be another invertebrate trait. I suggest they have invertebrate traits like hydrostatic mechanics. They suggested they have a tubular heart. So this heart wouldn't pump. It would just sort of ungulate. I'm trying to get better images of those ribs for you.
I see the ribs. They look like pork ribs,
They do.
Like some that you would buy at the store.
And look at this.
A rack of ribs.
And look at this spine, how it overlaps like this. This is why I suggest that between the ribs and the spine, we might be looking at something that's a sort of pre-turtle design.
Well, without us having a spine of a turtle, I don't have anything to compare it with.
Well, it's not
you could tell me that it looks like a turtle design. And
what I'm saying is that's not what I'm saying.
Show me a picture of a turtle design.
No. You don't need to. What I'm saying is they have an armored.
What do you mean I don't need to? I need to see it.
No, because that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is they have overlapping spinal plates, and they have stomach ribs. So it's not a turtle. But what I'm saying is they have essentially armor on the front and the back. So it's like a proto-turtle before turtles. A sort of design that would have led to turtles is what I'm suggesting.
Oh. Well, I'd like to have a comparison of different animals to see if...
well, it's not going to be the same. Turtles have a shell, obviously, so it's not quite the same.
No, underneath the shell.
But at the same time, what it's doing is it's protecting that
Oh, there's the. Oh, you just moved it. Move it back. Yeah,
It's-
there we see the spine. No, you move it back. There we go. We could see the spine going all the way down.
Well, there's the spinal plates, and then there's that central column. That's part of the confusing thing for me personally, is trying to decipher, because
We can't see anything right there. It's just the top. Yeah, that's just the top. Well, we could see right down the middle where the floating plates are. So this is the floating plate. Now, there won't be any cartilage in a mummy, right? Because the cartilage would be gone. It would be eaten away. Correct?
no, it should still be remains, but that'll be
Let me ask.
dried.
Let me see.
I mean, obviously, this body is whole, right? So what I'm saying is, it's like this. It's very strange, and I look forward to more studies, because it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me either. And it'd be nice if. Too bad there's so many skeptics, because if they were on board, rather than dismissing.
Yeah, it says no cartilage does not necessarily disappear after 1,200 years in a mummy. In fact, it is one of the most resilient soft tissue in the human body and can survive for thousands of years under the right conditions. Well, this is kind of like the right conditions. So
Yeah,
there
for
should be
real.
cartilage there. And there doesn't seem like to be cartilage to float on the bones, right?
Well, when you go to like the X-ray, right? The high density is the bone. So what remains is going to be flesh and cartilage. Anybody have any information in the comments?
Yeah, no, do the scans show cartilage?
So yeah, any of that connecting tissue, I mean, it's if we're seeing flesh and muscle, then yeah, you're seeing cartilage as well. It's not just bone, right? We know that. Man, there's these, I don't know how they're getting in here, but I get these little no-see-ums in the house.
So they're saying, some people say there is no cartilage, and then the ones in Mexico, in the Mexican Congress, said yes, there is cartilage.
Yeah.
So the Institute of Legal Medicine Forensic Science in Peru says no. Oh, that's the dolls.
Well, there has to be cartilage.
Yeah, no. That was the fake dolls that they found. No,
again,
forget them.
If we're getting all this other mass besides bones, then yeah.
Yes, they do have cartilage. Yeah. So the answer is yes, they do have cartilage. No. Google AI sucks. It keeps going back to these stupid dolls that are fake, that have nothing to do with Tridactyls. They were being sold to some billionaire or whatever.
Yeah, it's convoluted the whole story, and then some Peruvian reporter for Reuters just perpetuated this myth so that people actually they'll share the Reuters article as evidence. And it's that's just one dude in Peru with his opinion. He's not even a scientist, he's just a writer.
Yeah, and a writer that lives far away, probably someone out of Pakistan or India.
No, he's actually a Peruvian writer.
A Peruvian writer, really?
Yep.
For clicks and likes, maybe. Jeez.
Maybe a Peruvian writer for Reuters.
Really?
Yep.
He was highly mistaken. He needs to be
they
discredited and lose his job.
That's the problem with skeptics. They cause damage and they make further stuff. It actually works.
Horrifying.
It's counter propaganda. That's why I get so mad, because it's essentially
horrifying. That guy shouldn't even be a journalist anymore. He needs to
Right.
go.
And then what's also awful is
street.
people share that as fact. Like, why
He
would
needs
that
to,
guy
he needs
be
to go
your,
back and clean the streets in Peru.
why would that guy be your point of contact, your point of authority, you know?
They need more people to clean the streets, by hand, with the broom. That's where he needs to go back to, because that writing was horrifying. It made everybody around the world think that every one of them are fake, and they're not. It was just those two that they confiscated because the Peruvian government knew that those were dolls in the first place, and they are confiscating them because they don't want people selling dolls out there thinking that those are real and all that stuff. And
so where do you think our research should take us, gentlemen?
Well, I mean, there is cartilage. So that is the truth. There is cartilage holding the bones and that they're floating upwards. So that's the important thing that we need to know. They're just not floating freely on their own. They're not just like whatever. And that's the important thing to know. And the more we know, the more knowledge we have, the more ideas we have of how their movement is. And their legs don't bend like this. They bend backwards. So they bend backwards the other way when they're movement, or they could bend forward too.
Well, so that's why I call it the satyr pose. I would suggest that our myths of the satyr is probably based on beings like this.
The movie from Arrival.
Pan, the god Pan. Well, gentlemen, I think we've done a show.
You got anything to go on their Rebirth?
I just want to keep reiterating this, man. I don't know what more proof people want. We have the skeletons, we have the DNA, we have the 3D scans, we have the specimens. Okay.
We got carbon dating.
All we are missing right now is a live specimen that we can see with our own two eyes to sit here and say, hey, this thing is walking, talking, and acting out whatever it's supposed to be.
We do have a live one.
What?
I need you to go to the mirror and look at yourself.
Well, I'm saying one that I'm talking about the one in its archaic form, right? You know what I'm saying? So when people would sit here and say, well, these ain't real, my point is, can you read DNA? And if you can, go to the website and read the DNA. Can you read radiocarbon data? You can? Okay, then read the radiocarbon data. What else do you need? Because all you need to do is get because you're putting these specimens into some type of scientific method test, which brings up all the data on the computer. You print that data on the computer and it's available to everybody on this planet. Read it and tell us how is it not accurate or real.
It was myself when I extrapolated the unknown DNA, and I computed that you would, using the help of AI, of course, you would have to go back hundreds and hundreds of millions of years to find known DNA. It's just another clue. That's why I say I have 3 collaborating data sets. One, the unknown DNA suggests hundreds and hundreds of millions of years old. The morphology of the gastralia, the furcula, cutaneous breathing, hydrostatic mechanics, tubular heart, etc., corroborates with that, and takes us back hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of millions of years. And then you combine that with human cultural beliefs in fertility gods, creator beings, mother goddesses. This all alludes to some beings from deep time that were highly influential. Let's get a roll to see who our winner is this week. Whoops, that was not it. Oh, how you do this? How do you make them both roll? Oh, there it is.
I'll have your screen roll up.
72. Yeah, this is a fun way. This is Google. Everybody can use this. 72. Gears is already won.
We don't see the roll. Oh, there it is.
56. Mark Grawl in Boca. Oh, good. That's the one I get to deliver personally. How fun is that? Mark finally won.
Congratulations, Mark.
I can't wait to see him in person to give him his head.
Here's the other thing, and supporting what Rebirth was saying. I think people, and this is where it comes back to what came first, the chicken or the egg. People look at humanity as being the number one species on Earth. So they go by us as being the zero, like we're the beginning, and everything else follows us. Like we're the gods or something. Like if nothing else follows, it's just us. We're the point of origin, is how people think. Instead, we need to change our way of thinking and say that the Tridactyls are the point of origin, and then we come from that. So we have to think out of the box. Every single time we see something, we need to think out of the box. We don't have to permanently think that way. We have to always continue to change our thinking and see it in different angles so that we could understand where they fit into our society, or when did we come into society. Because if we continue to think that we're the only species in existence in the whole entire universe, like President Barack Obama says, do aliens exist? Well, it would be an awful waste of space. That's what I would think too. It's like, obviously we're not the only species in the whole entire universe. You know what I'm saying?
I don't know, because if these are terrestrial beings, I don't know if that proves anything extraterrestrial still.
Well, I mean, there's people that really believe that they exist, but did they make it to Earth? That's another hard question, because we can't make it to other planets. That's for sure.
Well, I do want to say this for you, Fat Jesus, because this is something that I talk about a lot. You mentioned that which came first, the chicken or the egg. Well, if you look at the beginning of when chickens came to be as a species and look at eggs, there's always been eggs around, so the egg always came first.
Yeah, really? Yeah. Well, I mean, who created the eggs, though?
What do you mean, who?
That's a good question.
Why
who created the eggs?
Did the rock giants create the eggs?
Why does there have to be a who?
That's a good question, but like I said, if you look at the species, the beginning of the species of the chicken, I mean, they say dinosaurs were once
eggs. There's insect eggs, right? There's fish eggs.
Well, I mean, you just got rid of the whole chicken out of the way. You just threw in the dinosaur. But who created the dinosaur then?
Why do you have to go to a who?
Who created?
Why does there have to be a who?
Egg? Because it's always a who. It's always gonna be a who.
Yeah, it's always going to be. I always live by this. Every article, everything that I write, everything that I do has to be who, what, when, why, and how.
Yeah, who is the main question? Because obviously, the science says it's a single cell organism.
Why does there have to be a who?
Everything.
That's just your deification talking. I see. I'm not a deist. I don't have to have a supreme being involved.
Do you not have a father and mother? You didn't come out of thin air, so you were born. So you do have a who. Everybody has a who. So we are born from that. We worship who's, from our birth. So that is like our
I think who is a simplification, because now you need a being. You need you're literally creating a who. You're creating a person.
Well, that's the thing with the Tridactyls. That's why I want artifacts. These Waqueros, they bring these bodies over to the university, but they don't bring the artifacts. I want to know who they were. That's why I want the artifacts, so I can know what job they had, who was their parents, what did they do in their lifetime. These artifacts will tell everything about them, not just the bodies. The bodies, the bodies look all the same to me, but I need to know more about them, where they come from, what was their daily lives and everything like that. That is important for me to know.
I don't think you're going to get all of that from those artifacts.
I need that. That is my wheelhouse in this whole deal, and I'm not getting that knowledge.
Look at the artifacts that are in the videos of the Citadel, then, of the Tridactyls in clothing. They suggest they have images of Maria's crown that was found.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I'm sure they worship.
But again, I don't know if that's going to tell you
gods and their
You're still going to be missing so much data.
Their mother and father, the mother and father goddess that created humanity. The who.
Well, I mean, in all the belief systems, for my research, it all leads back to a goddess from the Himalayan plateau.
I mean, I'm Christian, and I always grew up as that, and I have my beliefs in Christianity, and that's what I'm stuck with that. But then I study all these ancient archaeological, and it leads me down this huge rabbit hole of ideas in where humanity might have come from and what they believed in. And it's important for me to have an open mind. That doesn't mean that my beliefs have changed. It means I need to have an open mind to understand the cultures beyond that, because this is before Jesus Christ. This is pre-Christian, where Christianity didn't even exist back then, that the idea of it. So, and there was different religions back then too. So, the Inca civilization had their own religious beliefs and their ideas of who to worship and what they did, if anything at all.
Where do you live in Virginia?
Me, Norfolk.
Norfolk.
I'm all the way on the coastline. Like I said, my family is a coastal family, so I always like the coastline.
Well, any last words, gentlemen, for this week?
Are we gonna meet together?
I think we should plan that.
We're gonna be looking
maybe
at
in the summertime,
and
Yeah.
we're gonna be checking out the indigenous Americans in the eastern coast of the United States. People, we're gonna be doing some live videos here in the east coast of the United States.
It says here the halfway point between Norfolk, Virginia, and Coral Springs, Florida, is somewhere between Florence, South Carolina, and Lumberton, North Carolina.
Okay. There's a lot of stuff along the East Coast, of course.
And I, of course,
Especially
want to
along
check
rivers.
out Mount Mitchell. I also want to go to the Bigfoot Museum.
That's where I want to go too. So yeah, I definitely want to go to that too. Yeah, 100%.
That'd be fun, right? All right, guys, I'm going to wrap this. We did our show. Thank you guys both for coming and keeping me company, keeping the audience entertained with all our thoughts and conversation. I get to play the old grumpy guy.
Hey, are we gonna spend the night out there camping in tents?
Probably. Why not?
So we're gonna be experiencing the.
I'll be in a separate tent than you.
Yeah. No. Yeah. but I mean, you'll be by yourself out there. But are we gonna be experiencing the changelings, the ones that go out there and?
Thank you, Carl, for saying
the
that.
mimics?
Appreciate it.
The mimics.
We're just kind of hanging out, trying to cover some stuff while we.
Are we gonna go live when the mimics are coming out?
What mimics? What are you talking about?
The mimics. They go around pretending to be people.
Well, you better get your conspiracy
They're-
theories straight.
And
so
they'll
I
be
can
like,
keep up.
Professor Adasa, I'm outside your tent. Come out. Come out.
It's not you.
Adasa. It's me, Fat Jesus Live. Come out. Hey, I need your help. Help. They go, help. Help. And you're going to come out of your tent and they're going to be snatching your ass.
They don't want me.
Oh man, that's scary. I've been hearing stories. I think people make their own videos, and I watch those
You don't
videos.
say.
Yeah, but I mean, maybe they're real. Maybe they're real. I don't know.
Well, hopefully we can find some living pterodactyls. All right, man. Live long and prosper, everybody. I'll see you guys online. We will continue the debate on X and Facebook.